Let me feel thy changeless presence within. Wherever my thoughts take me, let them return always, like prodigal children, to find repose in thee.
We'll now have our reading from Rays of the One Light.
This is a reading from Rays of the One Light, weekly commentaries of the Bible and the Bhagavad Gita by Swami Kriyananda. Week 49. What is it to fail spiritually? Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teaching of Paramhansa Yogananda. The first passage is from the Gospel of St. Matthew, chapter 25. Jesus tells the parables of the 10 virgins, 5 of them wise and 5 foolish. They await their bridegroom, the Christ consciousness. The wise virgins keep the oil in their lamps, symbolic of their devotion, lit through the night. The foolish virgins placed no oil in their lamps. These foolish ones are like the average devotee, going through the motions of outer ritual, but keeping no fire of love burning in the heart. When the bridegroom's coming is announced, the foolish virgins realize their mistake and hasten out to purchase oil. During their absence, the Christ consciousness comes and embraces those who have been awaiting with him with devotion. The foolish ones, by their lackluster devotions, are not accepted by him. Watch, therefore, Jesus told his listeners, for you know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. In Autobiography of a Yogi, Paramhansa Yogananda describes the foolish virgin consciousness he encountered in the Mahamandal hermitage he stayed in as a young man in Benares. I was pleased, he wrote, that my new home possessed an attic where I managed to spend the dawn and morning hours. The ashram members, knowing little of meditation practices, thought I should employ my whole time in organizational duties. They gave me praise for my afternoon work in their office. Don't try to catch God so soon. This ridicule accompanied one of my early departure toward the attic. Later, during meditation, I felt lifted, as though bodily to a sphere uncircumscribed. Thy master cometh today. A divine womanly voice came from everywhere and nowhere. This supernatural experience was pierced by a shout from a definite local. A young priest nicknamed Habu was calling me from the downstairs kitchen. Mukunda, enough of meditation. You are needed for an errand. The divine's mother words were not spoken for the benefit of that priest, the foolish virgin, but for Mukunda, the wise virgin. For this was the day his guru, Sri Yukteswar, came to him. Grieve not, friends, if you feel that you have been foolish. No error is forever. Someday, if you keep your lamp lit now, your opportunity will come. In the Bhagavad Gita, the 6th chapter, Krishna promises every devotee, Arjuna, None who works for self-redemption will ever meet an evil destiny. Spiritual failure, though a deep disappointment, is always temporary. Eternal hellfire is but a projection of vindictiveness in the human mind. Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind.
Welcome again. So today's reading from Whispers from Eternity. Number 43. Make me a lion of thy all-conquering wisdom. I, a lion cub of the Divine Mother, found myself thrown into life in the sheep of human frailties, of fear, failure, and disease. Living long among them, I learned to bleat with weakness, forgetting my lion nature and its roars, which could frighten away all petty, pestering sorrows. O lion of realization, thou didst drag me away from those bleating sheep to the mirror-smooth waters of meditation. There didst thou cry, gaze, but I held my eyes tightly shut, bleating with fear. Thy roar of wisdom then reverberated through my body. Thou madest me, by hard shaking and spiritual urging, open my eyes, and there, lo, in the crystal pool of my inner peace, I saw my creatures to be even as thine own. Now I know myself as the lion of cosmic power. I will bleat no more with fear, weakness, and suffering, for I roar now with vibrant, almighty power. I bound about through the forest of all experiences, seizing little creatures of vexing worries, timid fears, and wild hyenas of disbelief, devouring them ruthlessly. O lion of immortality, roar through me thine all-conquering power of wisdom. So that's kind of the attitude that we have to take as spiritual warriors, because yes, we fall, we fail, but as the reading at the very end, it said, but nothing's permanent. It's just part of life. We know it's going to happen. We have to basically realize this is all part of the game of life, which is for, as Yogananda said, our education and entertainment. If we can only be entertained by those moments when we do fall and take strength, and become spiritual warriors and lions of immortality. Okay, so I do have to tell this joke. It's just a little boy saying, whenever I used to feel sad for any failure, my dad would tell me, don't worry, son, keep trying. The sky is the limit for you. I will never forgive the old man for ruining my chances of becoming an astronaut. So there's so many cases of we've seen through the ages and in our own lives and in our loved ones where people have fallen, and you're just rooting for them, and you just don't want them to be discouraged, and because you know that it's going to come out. It's all karma. We've been talking about karma a lot the last few weeks, and that's what it's all about. We bring these tendencies and desires and attachments and regrets and everything with us through the ages, through our incarnations, and we have to be patient because it is a long path, and we're pretty close to the end. I mean, to even be here, to want to be here, and thinking about, okay, how can I improve my life? How can I be a better person? How can I stay strong and positive and be even a beacon of light to others? And that's basically what we're here to be. God knows this world needs as many beacons of light, and we all are that for people we know. We are. I found it very interesting. I heard recently, you know Richard Wright. He is a person that Yogananda took with him to India in 1935. Yogananda returned to India, and he took with him a young man, Richard Wright, whose sister was Dayamata, Faye Wright. She wasn't yet the head of the Self-Realization Organization, but at that time, but the whole family were devotees. And so if you read in the Autobiography of Yogi, you'll read many accounts that Master put into the book of Richard Wright's own experiences, and they were powerful. He was there when they put Yukteswar's body into the ground. He was there when thousands of people came to worship and to see and to just have darshan with Yogananda. And he had this, you might say, a very privileged life. Can you imagine spending all that time with the Master in India? And when he came back, and this is a part that I had not heard before, that and I can't verify the source, but the way I heard it was that they thought Swami had said this, Swami Kriyananda, that he was actually being looked at as the next president of SRF. But when he came back from India, he left. Like nobody heard from him for a long time. He had a family. I remember years ago we were at a kind of a New Age conference in San Jose, the singers, and a woman came up to us and said that that her father was Richard Wright, and that I don't know if they said it at this time, but he had, I think so, he had come back onto the path. So, nothing's forever. We always have these moments. We see the trials, spiritual and material, physical, emotional, whatever, that Master went through also. He had his best friend kind of betray him. He brought him over from India to help run the organization as it was growing. And Swami Kriyananda too. I want to read a passage from Swami's book, A Tale of Songs, which is the last book he wrote. And in this book, he tells of how each of his songs came about, most of them, and why he started writing the songs in the first place. And first of all, he didn't feel they were his songs. He just was the channel for them. So he wrote this book, right? Yes, 2 months before he passed. And so he says, I mentioned Eric Estep before in these pages. He was an Ananda resident member who had been asked to leave the community because in the 12 years he was with us, he had never paid his regular membership dues. I had allowed him to stay there because he was a good artist, and I wanted to encourage the arts at Ananda. After being given the choice between leaving and paying his dues, however, he opted to leave. He then came to my house with his wife and spent over an hour telling me what he thought of me. During his diatribe, I don't think there was a quality in me of which he approved. My music was ridiculous. My writings were shallow and superficial. The communities I'd founded were of no value to anyone. My life had been displeasing to my guru. In fact, I was a failure. I listened without comment to his attack. When he'd had his say, they rose to leave. His wife had remained silent, but seemed supportive of what he was saying. I thanked them both. After they left, I went over and sat at the piano. There, I wrote the words and music to this song, I Live Without Fear. I'm just going to say the words to this, and you can imagine you just had an hour where someone is putting you down to the max. Nothing that you've done has been of any value to anyone, and you're a real failure. And Swami goes over the piano, and these are the words that come out. Though green summer fade and winter draw near, my Lord, in your presence I live without fear. Through tempest, through snows, through turbulent tide, the touch of your hand is my strength and my guide. I ask for no riches that death can destroy. I crave only thee, your love and your joy. The dancers will pass, the singing must end. I welcome the darkness with you for my friend. So I think the important thing is when we have those moments, we can't always go over to the piano and have a song like that come through us. But we can remember that it is temporary. These things don't identify with our failures, identify with our successes. So often we get stuck in that. And I'll just briefly tell, I had an interesting experience because I just launched a CD of Swami's music. It was 3 years in the making and way too much money that I didn't really have, and it's still not where I want it to be. And there are many moments where I'm like, okay, I should just stop. I'll just give up, it's okay. And I kept going, and it's not perfect, but I feel like it was a success because it got done finally, you know. So even if it's not, and I know as a Virgo, and I have pretty high expectations and perfectionist issues that I'm dealing with. So it's a challenge sometimes to, you know, not be so, to be hard. We should not be so hard on ourselves, and remember that we all have those moments. I'm going to end with these words from the Bhagavad Gita. But actually, before that, this wonderful affirmation which I have on the dashboard of my car, and I love it so much. I leave behind me both my failures and accomplishments. What I do today will create a new and better future filled with inner joy. So that's a very positive affirmation to keep in your head as we go through life. These words from the Bhagavad Gita. Clasp me with heart and mind, so shalt thou dwell surely with me on high. But if thy thought droops from such height, despair not. Give me lower service, seek to reach me, worshipping with steadfast will. And if thou canst not worship steadfastly, work for me. Toil in works pleasing to me. For he that laboreth right for love of me shall finally attain. But if in this thy faint heart fails, bring me thy failure. But no matter how hard you try, and you're still not hitting the mark, then offer that up. Your intention is good, you're trying. Bring me thy failure, Krishna says. Okay, we'll have our offertory.